I would tell anyone and everyone can do this. Start eating real food, period. Get away from the boxed, processed, refined carbs, refined wheat, all that. Just eat a fruit, a vegetable, and a meat, and a fat, a healthy fat. Just eat the food the way that God created it, and you will experience significant health improvements.
Welcome to the Love Your Brand podcast. If you're looking for real conversations with real people, you're the right place. Let's go!
So welcome to another episode of the Love Your Brand podcast. We are so blessed to have Miss Rachel Ramsey joining us today.
In the house?
Rachel.
She is the founder of Balanced and Healed, certified health and lifestyle consultant that works with women to balance their hormones and heal their gut so her clients can feel their best, sleep great, and increase their sex drive.
You say that last part again?
And increase their sex drive.
I thought so.
Who doesn't want that, right?
Who doesn't want that? This is going to be exciting. Fun show.
That's a hot topic.
That's a hot topic.
Like I'm a high schooler going to the mall. That's hot topic.
Hot topic. Go. Remember that store?
I do.
People get their nose rings there. But Rachel, who is Rachel? How did you end up here?
I don't know.
I feel like I know you.
How did you hear about this podcast, Rachel?
I don't know.
Ms.
I think
Ramsey?
I saw it on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Reached out to you.
That's dope.
Yeah. It's the first time we're meeting.
We got a pretty intense inquiry form that you got to fill out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get
It's
put
robust.
on
A wait list.
Yes, a wait list.
We don't
Right.
take just anybody.
Right.
No, you got to meet a certain criteria, and luckily you hit all the right notes.
Well, I am pretty amazing.
You
So,
are.
You are. And you're letting us film from your yard
right. Exactly.
because you are married to the host of the Love Your Brand podcast.
Mr. Jason Ramsey. We live together.
Amazing. This should be fun today.
All right.
Rachel, thanks for coming today.
Sure.
We're excited to have
I'm
you.
happy to be here. I mean, who doesn't like talking about themselves, right?
You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
So this is a great topic. I think we've had a handful of podcasts, and we're always touting health and business, right? The importance of health and the importance of running your business. So, how did you get started? Just kind of recap once again to the folks out there listening, exactly what you do and what piqued your interest, what kind of motivated you to go in this direction.
Yeah. So I am a health coach or health consultant now, but I kind of just fell into this accidentally. This wasn't the original plan. When I had my first daughter, Haven, after I had her, I was struggling with maybe a little bit of postpartum depression. My hormones were all over the place. I felt very just ill generally. And I've always been pretty natural minded. So I was planning to go to see maybe a naturopathic doctor or try to figure out kind of what was going on with me, through the use of natural wellness. And I was like, instead of spending a few $1,000s at a naturopathic doctor, which is well worth it if you're really seeking health answers. But I was like, instead, I want to educate myself. So I want to get certified in natural wellness so I can get a little glimpse of what's going on with me so I could help heal myself with my own knowledge.
Awesome.
So I got certified, and that lit a fire that I didn't even know was there. And I was like, wow, this is it. This is what I've been searching for. This is what I've been missing. So the only thing that I didn't really like about that first certification is they didn't really touch on women's hormones or men's hormones in general. And I was like, for especially women, hormones are a huge driver of our health. So that's when I decided to get another certification in holistic hormone health. And that really opened up the window of health. I really started to see a bigger picture of what was going on inside my body. But in that certification, I constantly heard hormone health starts in the gut. So that's when I got a third certification in holistic gut health. And that is how I got my trifecta of certifications. And now I have a really incredible holistic view of health. And I decided at that point, I don't want to keep this secret just for myself. I mean, I was glad to have a better understanding of what was going on within me, but I was like, wow, I've really got to share this with as many women as possible.
That's awesome. So if I'm hearing correctly, so you had your own journey, you had your own stuff that you were working through. And once you got through that, it kind of lit a passion, put a fire inside of you to go learn, get those certifications, learn more, and then go share it and help other people that were struggling with the same thing. Is that right?
Exactly. And when I started to actually form my business, when I started to think, okay, I can do this as a business, I realized that I also wanted to share my understanding of spiritual and mental and emotional health as well. I've not just taken a journey of physical health. I've also journeyed through my own mental wellness, my own spiritual growth. I'm actually trained in Christian discipleship as well. And, you know, I fully believe that we are not just physical beings. We are physical beings with a soul and a spirit. And it all works together. If you're going to try to reach ultimate health, you have to be balanced spiritually, emotionally, and physically.
That's so good. I love that. I've heard it's like, we're spirits with a soul that live in a body.
Exactly.
You know, we're spirits first, and you have all those components in our soul is our mind, will, and emotions. And there's so much around health, you know, because I'm a big health junkie too. I love it. And so we could chat for hours. But I mean, there's so much that's emotionally related that's causing health issues. You know, you talk about 100%. The hormone problems. You know, it's not just the foods we eat, the toxins we're exposed to. You know, there could be trauma from our past that is creating, you know, such a dysregulation of our hormones across the board. So that's awesome. I think I found so many people, it's like, you don't know what you don't know. So people that are walking around, they think they're living, they're running at their optimal level. Like, hey, this is what true health looks like, until they get better and they realize, man, for so long, I was actually running at only 50%. And then once you find the ways that your body is not working properly and you get freedom from that, every person I talk to, it puts them on fire to where they want to go share that with the world.
Oh, yeah. And I just wrapped up with a client today. It was our last session working together. We worked together for about 6 months. And when I first start working with any client, I ask them a series of questions, of course, but I have them rate themselves. Like, where are you emotionally right now? Where are you spiritually? Where are you physically? You know, all that kind of stuff. And then at the end of working together, I say, okay, now where are you emotionally, spiritually, and all that. And when I first started working with her, she rated her mental health at a 5 out of 10. And then today I said, well, where are you now? And she says, well, actually, now that I know what I know, and now that I've evolved, I'm going to revoke my 5. And I was really at a 2. And I didn't know. She said, but now I'm at a 7.
Wow. So
I was so glad for her that she's experienced such a jump in mental health, mental awareness. And she's actually one that has a diagnosed mental health issue. And so for her to say that she went from a 2 to a 7 with, you know, incorporating nutrition, lifestyle, and other, you know, mental wellness techniques that I teach, to go from a 2 to 7 is just really awesome.
That's incredible. I think all doctors or practitioners, they're doing the best with the information that they have. But I think so often there's doctors that one doctor specializes in this part of the body. One doctor specializes in this. Everybody specializes at different things, and they don't look at together how this part of the body affects this part of the body. And typically, like when you go this more holistic route, you see how the body is as a whole, and to where we can go from the meridians in our teeth and how they go to every organ in our body. And so how a dentist may be focusing just on the teeth, but you need to actually look at everything else that's in there. So with gut and hormone health specifically, why did you choose that as your focus?
Well, really, all disease grows or dies in the gut, period. That's how it is. So if you want to balance your hormones, you have to heal your gut. I mean, you can, do all these external things to try to balance your hormones. And you can take, if you have PCOS, you can take medication. You can, just all these things that are external, but really true health comes from within. and that's spiritually as well. The heart is the root of the fruit. Whenever you're having outbursts and triggers, you have to look within for those reasons. And that's the same with the gut. Your gut can affect everything. It can affect mental health as well. There's the gut-brain axis. So we create a lot of our neurotransmitters, our feel-good neurotransmitters within our gut. So if your gut is unhealthy, it's going to directly impact your mental health. And so, that's why I chose mental health or gut health.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, the gut's where our immune system, is and starts. So Jason, like you have an amazing asset here in your wife, and the mom to your children. And I don't want to stereotype how our culture is today, but it's so often that the husband typically goes outside the home and works while the mom stays at home and nurtures, tends to the kids, is responsible for their health, for their well-being, the doctor visits and all those things. I mean, how has this affected you and changed your life to where you have such a knowledgeable woman here that comes in and is teaching your family the proper way, to take care of your body, to grow, to implement these things, teach the children, how to grow? How's that implemented you or affected you rather?
Well, I think she's definitely either going to keep me alive for a lot longer or a lot less.
Or kill him off sooner.
So it's kind of a dangerous situation. No, but all kidding aside, it is such a blessing to have that kind of asset, because before I, met her, just to be honest with you, when it was me and my boys, I would just cook them the same thing I was brought up eating, right? I mean, mac and cheese in the box,
Yeah.
But normal stuff too. It's like steaks and meats and vegetables, but then a lot of garbage as well. When it comes to all the chemicals are in a lot of different things, it was completely abnormal to me, right? Learning about this. Some of it's kind of crazy, right? But I just kind of let her do her thing because I know she's serving the best interest of us as a family, as a whole, like getting rid of the microwave. You could have thought it was.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's my supplement jar. You open the microwave and the supplements are in there.
Oh, that's funny.
And one day,
storage box.
Oh my gosh. Nevaeh, one day, she was probably 6. She's probably that old. And we were at a friend's house and friends threw something in the microwave and she said, "Daddy, what's that?" As they brought food out, I said, "That's a microwave." She's like, "What does that do?" I told her what it did. And she was like, "Why don't we have one?" And I said, "We do." She paused. You saw the wheels turn and she's like, "Oh, our supplement cabinet." I was like, right.
That's so funny.
Little side tangent there.
So, I mean, you could see it, like people that have known me, from where I went the last 7 years is, is completely different. I was essentially not treating my body well, and it was affecting my, my lifestyle, my work, the way I thought, spiritually, mentally. I mean, everything across the board. So, and what I've learned just through osmosis is that this is a resource that I don't think is readily enough available to women, right? I feel like, the masses, if they put this kind of effort into actually teaching women how to heal themselves from the inside out, instead of just constantly supplementing it with chemicals and other, just patches, like never really going to the root cause of the issue is what I find.
Our society is largely allopathic minded, which means that they, were brought up going to the doctor, and the doctor spends 10 minutes with you and they'll say, okay, you need such and such supplement or such and such prescription. And they don't ever get to the root cause because that's just not how the conventional allopathic doctor system is set up to be. They don't have enough time with each patient to figure out what the root causes are. It takes time. And so a lot of people want to treat supplementation like that allopathic model. They're like, okay, well, just tell me what supplements I need. Right. But that's not my approach. And I don't think that's long-term beneficial for anyone. So when I have a new client come in, they fill out 4 or 5 different forms that takes them 45 minutes to fill out. And then we go over all those forms, all those questionnaires. It takes about an hour to an hour and a half. And that's really me looking in to their life. I call it a health audit.
Yeah.
And I'm pinpointing any potential deficiencies, any imbalances, and I'm also taking in mind like their cultural backgrounds, their experiences with health, their experiences with doctors, what any potential diagnoses that they've had throughout life, and then from there, I'm creating a big picture protocol that includes the way that I look at health through 7 foundational pillars, which is nutrition, sleep, hydration, exercise, mental health, spiritual health, drainage, and elimination. All those things have to come together to get to the true root cause or root causes, and only then can you experience optimal health.
So good. It's so good. So you have a business. You've created this business. I think you said at 35 years old, you started this and went a different career path.
I was in marketing for 12 years before that.
Incredible. I think that's how we met for the very first time. And then actually knew you first before I met Jason.
Right.
But so if somebody decides to work with you, walk us through that process, because in business there's different models of how to do that. I think with the advancements in technology, it opens up so many doors to where you can do consultations via Skype or Zoom, virtually, to where you don't have to be in the same location. So do you offer like in-person consults, virtual consults, one-on-one, group coaching? What is your business model?
So I love in-person local clients, but a lot of my clients are out of state or away from me. So I do everything from in-person to virtual. We can do video consultations. We can do Zoom. We can do phone calls. When someone is interested in working with me, I offer them a free 15-minute consultation so we can make sure that we are both on the same page and that we're going to be a good fit, because I may not be a good fit for everyone. Some people honestly don't want to put in the work. It's a lot.
Right.
And I offer one-on-one coaching primarily right now. And that is a lot for some people. So it might not be a good fit for everyone. But yeah, so I do offer one-on-one coaching. I have 3 different tiers right now. I have the first tier, which is just lifestyle changes. And this is for someone who is wanting to see some quick results. And that process is about a 3-month time period where we're just going to hit kind of the physical, right? The nutrition changes, the exercise changes, the sleep, hydration, all of those physical lifestyle changes. My next tier that I offer is for someone who's wanting a little bit more advanced support. And that takes anywhere between 3 to 9 months. And that's where we talk about your mental health. I offer a lot of mental health hacks to help people emotionally and mentally. And then we also dive into the spiritual realm. And I mean spiritual realm, meaning Christian spiritual realm. And that's where a lot of people experience significant breakthrough because so much of like what we already talked about, so much of our health is found in our spiritual and emotional and mental self as well.
Nice. So you have a husband who owns a marketing agency.
Yes.
You have you with 12 years of marketing experience.
Yes.
So when we as entrepreneurs go to launch a business, how has that helped you that you have a resource in your husband for the marketing and the background that you have? Or sometimes do you see it as a hindrance to where we know all these things to do, but when it comes to our own business, it's harder to do for your own business than somebody else's?
It's so hard to do for myself.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's this weird blockage. Like I can look at other businesses and say, oh, they're missing this, this, and this. And then but I look at mine and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So it's interesting because I've had my actual business for about a year and it has been successful, but it's not at the place where I thought it would be when I first started. I thought I'd hit the ground running and just have clients knocking on my door. And that's an interesting experience starting your own business. And it's just like anything else. When you first start weightlifting, you assume you're going to build muscle in like 3 weeks, right? That doesn't happen. It takes consistent effort. Yeah. And so, and just like building muscle or anything like that, you keep doing it even though you're not seeing the results that you're expecting.
That's good.
And so anything that is worthwhile is going to take time.
That's good. So Jason, with watching your wife, I know that y'all champion each other. You're each other's best cheerleader. You want her to succeed. She wants you to succeed. When you're watching her with her dreams and her visions and what she wants to do and what she wants to accomplish, do you want to come in immediately? It's like, oh, baby, you need to, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Or are you leaving it to her to, hey, this is your baby. This is what you want to do. I'm here when you need me, if you need me.
Absolutely. The first part. And that's probably, we work differently, right?
It's true. Opposites attract, and that's very true with us.
I'm constantly living and breathing a solution-based, positive. I'm looking to grow constantly. So we could be having dinner, and I'm like, oh, babe, blah 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 blah, and she's like, no, I need it in a document. I need it bullet points. We need to set aside 15 minutes and go over it on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
I can't handle it. I can't talk about it.
When you have
more
kids,
like you, Rachel.
Yeah, especially when you have kids around, and when I'm not in business mode, I'm thinking, okay, the trash needs to be taken out. I have to unload the dishwasher. Yeah. The kids need to be in bed, or actually they need to be in a bath by 6:30 so they can be in bed by 7. And I'm thinking like that. And Jason's business mind is always running.
Always going.
Yeah, I'm taking out the trash and I'm having an idea.
Right.
So it's like...
Well, he starts calling me about 5:30 at night because that's when there's been a culmination all day of all these things. Now he's like, hey, I'm so excited. Look at this. We can do this. I'm like, bro, I'm cooking dinner. Right. Let's chat tomorrow. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And so, and I appreciate it. And it's funny because, obviously Jason is a man. So he's approaching this from a very masculine energy perspective. I'm very feminine energy oriented, right? So he's looking at results like, sales, money, all those kind of masculine business oriented traits, right? And I'm looking at it from a very feminine point of view. What feels good for me? What makes my heart feel good? How do I feel most at peace, within my business, all of these kind of feminine things. And so it's just very interesting. And so he's like, you need to start a Facebook page and you need to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that doesn't feel in alignment with my heart.
Feelings don't really have an ROI.
Right, exactly.
So, I'm coming at it from the angle I'm opening her eyes to the other 90% of running a business. Mm-hmm. 10% is you actually getting to do what you want to do.
Right.
When you realize that, though, then you can put people in place. There's ways to structure a business. So anybody starting a business, I think it's important to realize, what it actually takes to run. Because I think we had Jody on earlier, and what'd she say, 80% of businesses fail.
In the first five years?
5, and honestly, I think it's closer to 2 now. But because they have to rely on that revenue, right? But if you're in a blessed place where you're working a job and you're starting your side hustle and you're not reliant on that income, then you've got some breathing room, which I would advise anybody starting a gig just to kind of to do that. Have some income to where you're just not thrown to the lion's den and you're totally relying on getting that next sale, because that will put you in a place. I'm not saying have a scarcity mindset, but of a place of financial scarcity.
Yeah.
Where, you still got to keep the lights on and the bills paid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So right now we're in the process of coming up, fine tuning her business. It's in a good place. All her stuff is solid. We're just working on kind of fine tuning where we go next.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, Rachel, it's like you've ironed out your audience. And so I remember some things I launched in the past, and I created what I thought were these beautiful things, but I missed the first step, which was figuring out who is this for. And so you can make something good, but if you're not communicating that to the right audience, it's just going to flop. And so that your audience, one part of it is that, all right, this is for women, and this is for women looking for gut health, hormonal health, that they've had these problems. And so you can speak their language. And when somebody comes your way, whether you're doing, like we talk about, push marketing versus pull marketing, if you're going out trying to find them or they're coming to you, you know exactly, hey, this is your problem. They communicate it, and this is where I specialize. This is the solution to your problem. And so how detailed have you gotten on your niche to where, apart from just, women, hormonal or gut health, like, do you get so specific to, it needs to be an age, it needs to be, all these criteria, or are you finding just that is enough to where there's enough women that are coming your way from just those levels?
So I'm still kind of tailoring my messaging, and I'm still trying to tailor my perfect client, because the problem that I'm struggling with, because health is so holistic, and it's so far reaching, that it's hard to, I don't want to niche down so much, because I can offer, if you are a 40-something-year-old woman who is approaching menopause, I can support you, and I'm not. Right, not you, big, why out there. I can teach you about the changes that you're going to be experiencing in your hormone health, right? And I can teach you how to not, a lot of women who are approaching menopause tend to gain 10 to 15 pounds and start to lose 2% of muscle mass and bone density. And I can help you prevent all of that, right? But I can also help a woman in her mid to late 20s who is planning to have a child, because I can teach you that 90 days before conception, you want to start making some lifestyle changes to help, based on epigenetics, which is the study of how diet and lifestyle affect gene and gene mutation. So I can help you put your body in an optimal place so that your child has the best chances for success and growth. But I can also work with postpartum women who have just gone through the most life-changing, traumatic event in their life, and that has really changed their body. It's changed their gut health. It's changed their hormone health. So I can also help women in that stage as well. So it's hard, to niche down, because gut health and hormone health is so universal, no matter what age, race, or even gender.
Yeah. So do you have any pushback? So I think, like, in marketing, in any business, our client is the hero of the story. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so we are going to be the guide of that story. And we're going to be the guide is like Yoda to Luke Skywalker. Yoda has done everything. And so he's won the day, so he can teach Luke exactly what to do.
Right.
And so you're the guide in this part, and you can be empathetic with somebody. And,
Yoda, I am.
Yes, Yoda, I am. And so, but empathy is one component of being the guide, to where, you can look at a woman and be like, hey, I've been in your shoes. Mm-hmm. And that automatically connects you. And so there's that. Then the other part is authority and credibility that you have of, let's say, your certifications that you listed off, the trainings that you've gone through, to where you are this resource. Where I'm getting to, my question is, do you have any women, for example, you brought up menopause, and I don't want to get too specific, but I'm assuming you haven't gone through menopause at your age.
Not yet.
So have any women looked at you and said, I'm not going to get advice from somebody about menopause that hasn't gone through it themselves? Mm-hmm. Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, sure.
Has that happened?
Maybe. I mean, no one's explicitly said that to me. I have had women clients that I've worked with who are premenopausal and postmenopausal. So I have had women, who are experiencing that stage in their life, who have trusted me with their health, and I was able to support them.
That's awesome. Because we're always going to get haters, and I think we talk about this often. Like, if you get haters in your brand and in your business, it's actually a good thing. It's a compliment, because it means you're making an impact, versus just kind of people pleasing.
Right.
But you honed in on something earlier also. You talked about, all right, sometimes I have to cut the business off and be a mom and wash the dishes and take out the trash and do all these things. So how do you balance that in the home? Maybe this is a question for both of y'all, because you're both business owners and y'all communicate to one another. These are our expectations. You're going to work all day. You're going to bring home the bacon, or we're going to work together, bring up 50% of the income, or whatever it is. I mean, how do you personally balance your work life? Do you have set hours of, my consults are going to be between 10 and 2, and then from then on, I'm going to be a mom and a wife? What is it like for you?
Yeah, I'm still learning that balance. I definitely, we are very blessed to have the girls in a fantastic local school that we love. So I have those hours available for working with my clients. And then I make some time in the evenings and occasionally weekends as well. And so when you're a working parent, whether you're a mom or a dad, you learn what you're willing to sacrifice and what you're not, right? So that might mean I'm willing to sacrifice a Tuesday evening so that I can spend from, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. with my kids, and then from 7 p.m. on, I can do a little bit of business. And so you figure out the balance, you figure out what's worth it and what's not, and those sacrifices that kind of have to coexist when you're balancing life and business.
It's hard. I mean, it starts with communication. So Jason, for you, I mean, like, what would you want? What would be an ideal scenario for whether you're operating there today, living there today, or this is what you want in the future, to where I'm a working man, my wife is a working woman, we're family first, to where we care about our kids first. What would an ideal day look like for you to balancing work and personal life? Is this a good question for him?
Sure. Yeah.
That's a good question. Well, she's offering something unique, right? Which a lot of people aren't. I heard this quote the other day that I'm as confident as a 25-year-old life coach. So if you notice, we've had a boom of life coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Right, on Instagram. And they're mostly 25 years old. So I'm going to get coaching from a life coach that's had 25 years of experience in life. The irony, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, side note, but Rachel is actually going above and beyond, and she's offering one-on-one coaching, which, if you also notice, that's harder and harder to find with now coaching and AI merger, with all this automation, with all these courses, automated courses. Everybody wants to create something that they don't have to actually work for, right?
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
So, she realizes she finds so much fulfillment in helping these women. And I see it when she's helping these women. I mean, she's glowing. She gets a testimonial. And the lady is like, oh my gosh, I've never learned anything like this in 45 years. Their mind is just completely blown. Their lifestyle changed, less stress, off crazy amounts of caffeine and toxic chemicals. And just their whole world has been flipped and turned around. I think, the perfect lifestyle, per se, of how that would look is that, we do it now. We kind of divide and conquer, during the day. We have 4 kids, and now we got 2 stray kittens that just popped in the mix.
Gonna keep those kitty cats.
Keep those kittens. I don't know. I think they.
Well, we bought a litter box, so I think that means they're staying.
So yeah, maybe the dog later. But having that balance, she's only one person, so she can only go. She's only got so much bandwidth to facilitate so many women, right? She wants to continue doing that, which I'm supporting her 100%.
One-on-one coaching, you mean?
One-on-one coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, after we've got some data with enough women, we can start to maybe broaden our reach into helping more women, making a larger impact. Because I do see this is such a need that it's unavailable. There are a lot of people out there doing this, but they're doing it in different ways. And I think Rachel has a lot of unique ideas and attributes to her approach. So I'm really game about helping her make an impact in more of these women's lives.
That's awesome.
I
love that. So how do you define success with what you're doing? Is that based on a number of women you've helped? Is that based on an amount of money or revenue? How do you define success?
So when I originally went into business for myself, I didn't have a plan for how much money I wanted to make. That I really just wanted to share my knowledge and my personal experience with as many women as possible. But it's very popular right now to have a group coaching model, right? So that means that you have 100 or 200 women on at one point, and once a week or twice a week, you have a group coaching session where each woman gets 5 to 10 minutes with the coach, and she asks whatever personal question. I don't even want to share some of the personal things that the clients and I talk about, but
Sure.
we talk about poop and sex drive all the time, and those questions get very personal.
Yeah, we were supposed to come back to sex drive. Good reminder.
Right. And so what a lot of women are experiencing when they're in these group coaching environments is, not being able to feel totally safe with themselves and their coach, because they're sharing their coach with 30 other women on a group coaching call. So all that being said, I could make a lot more money going that route. But I'm choosing right now, at least, to do the one-on-one coaching model. And I do hope in the future I can possibly offer some courses and things like that. So for women who are not necessarily financially able to, or they can't commit the time to do one-on-one coaching, I can have some courses available. But the goal was never to make as much money as possible. The goal is to make a significant impact in each woman's life that I work with. That's the ultimate goal.
Love that. Make an impact, changing lives.
Mm-hmm.
So you hear it, folks. If you're looking for a change, if you of anything in your life, if you're having any kind of issue, right now,
I can do anything.
Right now is the
We got
time
Superwoman here.
to connect with Rachel at balancedandhealed.com.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can get grandfathered in to this one-on-one sesh, because I guarantee you it's going to be harder to come by as time progresses. So,
could we get Rachel to say one thing? So for our listeners, for a woman that's struggling with her health, if you could give one small change, because you listed off 7 pillars earlier. So there's a lot that people do. And I think so often when there's so much, it overwhelms people, and we just don't do anything because there's too much. So if somebody listened today and they said, all right, today I can start with what would you tell them?
I would tell anyone and everyone can do this. Start eating real food, period. Get away from the boxed, processed, refined carbs, refined wheat, all that. Just eat a fruit, a vegetable, and a meat, and a fat, a healthy fat, a non-seed oil fat, butter, lard, beef tallow. Just eat the food the way that God created it, and you will experience significant health improvements.
So you're saying eat the opposite of everything that I'm being told not to eat.
Exactly.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't be afraid of saturated fats when it comes from an animal.
That's amazing. Usually, Jason knows, I have my butter in this coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So you just gave me permission to keep eating my butter.
Absolutely.
I love it. That's awesome.
And what are a few things, if women are listening and they're like, how did Stella get a groove back? And they're thinking
sex drive. We keep forgetting.
What can I do? What can I do to just improve they're married, their husband didn't wash the dishes, and they're they're holding a lot of resentment or whatnot. Who knows what the hypothetically.
Not like we've dealt with that personally.
Never. But what can they do to increase their sex drive?
So sex drive is a very interesting topic because it is a very holistic issue. So much, especially for women, so much of our sex drive is in our emotions, is in our head, is our mental state. So what Jason said is actually perfect. You're frustrated with your husband because he's not doing this, this, and this. Some of the mental health hacks that I teach my clients is, one of the things that I tell everyone to do is practice gratitude and journaling. There is something called perceived stress. So if you have 2 people, person A experienced their house burning down, okay? Person B also experienced their house burning down. But person A, they changed the story. They changed the narrative. They said, instead of, looking at it like, oh my gosh, everything is ruined, everything is gone. Instead, they're like, you know what? Everyone is alive. Yeah. Everyone is well. We have home insurance. We're going to be able to rebuild our home. Stuff is just stuff. It's okay. But person B had that negative mindset, right? Oh, I lost everything. All my clothes. I'm going to have to buy all new clothes.
Life is horrible.
Life is terrible. All this this stuff happens to me all the time. Why me all the time? I experience this kind of stuff. So that is perceived stress. The person B is going to experience significant more health issues, significant more mental health issues than person A. So that's the same thing with a lot of women who are experiencing sex drive difficulties. They're putting themselves into this emotional deficit and this emotional disconnection from their spouse because they are concentrating on what their spouse is not doing, right? You can set yourself up for success by concentrating on what they are grateful for in their spouse, what their spouse has done. And that in and of itself is going to put you on not just the right foot for helping your sex drive, but it's also going to put you on the right foot and get you closer to emotional, spiritual, and physical intimacy with your spouse.
That's really good. That's awesome. That, gratitude changes everything. There's science that shows physiologically what happens in our body with gratitude. So I love that. I think that doesn't just apply for women. That applies across the board and even how we teach our children. I was chatting with my wife yesterday, the day before, into where almost a decade ago I learned, went to marital counseling, and they gave us this homework of telling each other each day 2 things you either love, like, or admire about the other person. And so think of when you're fighting, you don't want to say these things. We want to keep our pride up. I'm not telling her, kind of a thing. And it forced you to be grateful. It forced you to look past all that and see the good and communicate that to the other person and go from a negative state to a positive state. Now, back then, that counseling was in a reactionary kind of thing. So sure. I didn't like it. But we were, Jody and I, freshly married. And, as we're just doing marriage, a marriage course together, not as a reactionary, just to be proactive and do our best. And we talked about the potential of something like that, to where, just constantly affirming each other, constantly encouraging each other, and not emasculating, not shaming, not doing all these things. And it changes everything just with your attitude and an attitude of gratitude.
Oh, yeah. And even if you look at frequency, frequency is kind of a hot topic, especially within the Christian world. People get really nervous when you talk about energy and frequency and vibration.
Oh, that kind of frequency.
Yeah. But I fully believe, of course, God created frequency. God created vibration and energy, right? When we are experiencing gratitude, when we are experiencing thankfulness, that's the highest frequency that you can create within yourself. So and so you are putting your body in a physically high vibrational state from an emotional state. And I just think that's so powerful. You can, disease grows with low vibration, low frequency.
Yes.
So if you're constantly holding on to anger and resentfulness and bitterness, you are creating a low vibrational state for yourself where nothing but disease and yuckiness grows and develops. But if you concentrate on gratitude, thankfulness, you're putting yourself in a high frequency, healing vibrational state.
So good. It's incredible. I heard 1 minute of anger will weaken your immune system for 24 hours, and 1 minute of laughing will increase and boost your immune system for 24 hours.
That's awesome.
You heard it here first. Low vibrations, yuckiness.
Those are the poo-poo. You want those good vibrations.
Uh-huh.
Come on.
So, Rachel, for the people listening, how can they find you? Where would be the best place if they want to follow and continue to get the knowledge and wisdom that you've already shared today?
So you can always find me at balancedandhealed.com. That links to all of my social media channels. I am always posting good information, good helpful information about gut health, hormone health, mental health, spiritual health on my Instagram. I also send out a monthly email that is chock full of hormone balancing and gut healing recipes, as well as health tips and everything, health.
Better sign up.
So you can
get my wife on that.
Right. So you can sign up. She's doing it right now. So you can sign up for those emails, and you can, and then of course, once I start creating courses, or if I open up any other channels, you'll be the first to know through my emails. So that would be a great place to start. And you can also sign up for my free 15-minute consultation on my website as well.
That's awesome. You heard it here first. balanceandheal.com. Check it out. 15-minute consult. Get on that email list. Get those recipes. Change your hormone. Increase your sex drive. Change your marriage. Change your life.
Change your life.
Exactly.
Make it happen. Rachel, that was awesome, dude. You got to keep her.
Yeah,
don't let her go, man.
I believe I do.
Rachel, this was incredible.
Thank
you so much for sharing and joining us today.
Thank you, sweetheart. And if you don't know, this is my lovely wife, Miss Rachel Ramsey, my better half. And maybe you can come back on again.
Absolutely.
In the future.
Sure. I think next time you'll have to pay me, though.
Okay.
I agree.
I'll pay you. I'll cook.
You can make dinner. Pay me in dinner. That works.
Incredible. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening and joining us on the Love Your Brand podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode, and remember, share the love.